Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn session this afternoon. I think this is our fifth one that we've held this year so far. And they're really meant to be short power hour sessions where we invite a guest founder, guest entrepreneur to come and share their story with us about their entrepreneurial journey so far. So, what business they have, how they started it, their sort of highlights, their challenges, and all the things that we can learn from that. So they're really intended to be an honest insight into someone's entrepreneurial journey, and we really want you to get out of this what you want to. So if you do have questions for Farouk, then please feel free to put them in the chat while he's speaking, or we'll have chance towards the end where you can unmute yourself and talk freely if you'd prefer that. But if you do think of something while he's speaking, yeah, just pop it down in the chat and we'll come back to it. So I'll just do a very brief introduction to Farouk, but he is also going to introduce himself more properly. But Farouk is a Aston graduate. He graduated in 2019 doing international business and economics. And I suppose the reason our team, the Aston Centre for Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, we are connected with him because he took part in our Be Seen programme. So he was a student entrepreneur. He had a business, actually businesses, I think, plural, while he was at university. And then that's led him into kind of the career he's had so far, working for some really interesting big brands like Burberry, Depop, Just Eat, etc. So I'm sure he can share some more about that. And then now his current venture, which is RwrkStudio, which is super interesting, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to hearing more about that. So yeah, Farouk, would you like to start with a bit of a introduction to yourself, and then we can go into our discussion?
Yes, indeed. And yeah, thanks so much, Kath. I just have to say before I even start anything, big thank you to Carolyn and Kath. So beating was a thing when I was still over there in Birmingham, but I know it's evolved into something else. But beating was literally the first ever incubator that I participated in, and yeah, it's gone a long way. So much appreciated, and so happy to be here to give back to what you guys are doing now. So yeah. A bit about myself. So yeah, guys, my name is Farouk. Born and raised in Nigeria, and I think I came here when I was like maybe 8 or 9. So I'll take you through a bit of my history, and I'll do it quickly as well because I really want to get to answering a lot of the questions. So, as many of you went to secondary school in London, I was a football guy. Favorite subject, maths. There may be some of you here who did a bit of business in school. So yeah, I was that guy who was selling cookies and donuts during lunchtime. I'm sure some people on this call may be able to relate to that. So that was my first ever taste of entrepreneurship, being in school and selling those Lucozades and Starburst to my friends. And the second business I had in school was a clothing line again. So cliche. But we all have that amazing idea that our clothing brand is going to be like the best one. So I did that with my friends as well, and it was somewhat successful. The food business, I'll call it, which I was doing, was I actually made my first 1K, which was amazing. And in sixth form, I then went on to lose that 1K in a scam, which was probably my first. That was probably my first business lesson, which is don't trust all suppliers on Alibaba, because they're not all true. So short story, GTA 5 was coming out when I was in sixth form, and I had the great idea, what if I could buy, I don't know, 50 copies of GTA 5 from Alibaba before they came, before they were released, and sort of sell them to my friends and people who I knew were interested. Turns out there was no GTA 5. I got a bunch of, I don't know, random CDs And yeah, lost my 1K. So yeah, first lesson, do your due diligence. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So yeah. But onto that, in college, I went into just develop more of what I loved, which is I studied business, I studied economics, and I studied maths as well. And I also started boxing in secondary school, sorry, in sixth form for anyone who's interested in that. And then from there, I moved into university, which is where I met the lovely Caroline and Kath, where I studied international business and economics. Um, and during my time, I also did a placement year at Deloitte for my third year, which for anyone who's in the second year, probably considering, or in your first year, considering whether or not to do a placement year, I would highly recommend you do it, even if you feel like you're an entrepreneur. How do you know if you hate a workplace, if you've never been in the workplace environment, to prove to yourself that it's actually not for you? So for me, that placement year was almost me saying, "Hey, Farouk, you think you hate a workplace, but I want you to go in there and see what it's like, so then you can full confidently say, hey, work is not for me, and I want to be a full entrepreneur." And turns out it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Now, did it change my mind on being an entrepreneur? No, but I understood that there's value in working 9 to 5 as well. So yeah, really, really good experience. Uh, yeah, did a lot of traveling at uni, which I'm hoping you guys are doing. Probably a key factor, I actually bought my first house whilst I was also at uni. So I used my student finance. I'm not sure if this is allowed, but I used my student finance. So again, if you're in your second year, going into your third year, one thing you could really do is figure out a way to, I don't know, but I mean, so I leveraged my student finance as the deposit for my first house, and the way I was able to do that was because I was on placement, so I was earning a salary, and with a salary, it means you can get a mortgage. Um, and the benefit of this was I got a 2 bed, which meant my friend was paying pretty much my mortgage. So I lived my fourth year rent free. So you kind of avert the risk in a way. I can talk more about that on a different call, but I'll move on. So yeah, great experience, and for me, that was almost that was my reward. That was the one thing I felt really proud of in terms of what I achieved during my time at university. So yeah, and also during that time, I started my third business, which I was able to, I guess, get off the ground because of BC. So that was an event app called Alias Mobs. Love Alias Mobs. Called Alias Mobs, and our whole, I guess, the problem we were trying to solve was Birmingham may have changed, but the digital footprint in Birmingham is very low. What I mean was a lot of the venues that I went to didn't even have a website. So the idea was we wanted to bridge the gap between a lot of these venues with low digital footprint and students who were looking for different things to do in Birmingham. And we got off the ground. We did a little something, but unfortunately COVID hit, and that was the end of the business over there. So yeah, and then after uni, I finished uni right before COVID. So as you can imagine, business just finished, nothing to do. So I started actually working at Burberry in the Bullring. So if you've been to that Burberry in the Bullring, I used to work there as a sales and visual merchandiser. Um, so I did it for about 2 years, and then from there, I moved into Just Eat as an operations manager, and from there, I moved into Depop as an operations manager. Whilst doing all of this, I also started my fourth business, which is RwrkStudio, um, which I'll talk about a lot more. But before I talk, just to give you a high level on what we've done at RwrkStudio. So I started RwrkStudio in 2023. Since then, we've generated over 170,000 pounds. We've garnered over 100,000 followers on our social platform, and we've also repurposed over 3,000 kg of waste just last year. That's just our numbers for last year. So yeah, we've done something with our little business so far. So I guess before we get into what RwrkStudio is, it's probably good to show you the problem, because I believe any good business starts with a good problem to solve. So always, always, always start with your problem. Don't be egotistical and think you have a cool idea which isn't solving anything. It probably wouldn't get you far. So the problem we were trying to solve with RwrkStudio is overproduction. During my time at Burberry, I firsthand saw just how much stuff wasn't selling with the luxury brands. And rather than adding to the problem, I wanted to figure out how to start a business that adds to the solution. And the solution I came up with was upcycling. So we chose towels because towels, you have millions, you wouldn't believe, but you have millions of towels and linen that gets disposed of every year with just the UK. I haven't even looked at the rest of the world. The UK has a big enough problem with towels where so many of them get disposed of and just thrown away to landfills, not because they're essentially bad, it's just because they have small cosmetic damage, which again you wouldn't see in a hotel. So the idea here is we want to take take these towels and figure out how we can repurpose them, how we can extend their life cycle, and you know do our part for the world. Which brings us to RwrkStudio. What we do is we repurpose, we upcycle these towels and turn them into everyday pieces, whether it's shorts, whether it's hoodies, that what I'm wearing, whether it's trucker jackets, whether it's joggers. We're repurposing these towels to these everyday pieces and then selling them on to our consumers. And for context, upcycling comes in, just for those of you who don't know what upcycling is. So upcycling is where you take something that already exists and you give it a new life by extending the life cycle. So I can take if I had a water bottle, I can take a water bottle, right? That's at the end of its life cycle. If I cut it in half and I use it as a cup, I've just upcycled. I've just repurposed and upcycled that water bottle. So what I've got here is just a bunch of different examples of how upcycling is done in the world. It's such a creative space to be. We've got the girl on the left who repurposes denim jeans to make bags. You've got this guy here who repurposes alcohol bottles to make these really cool mugs and candle holders and cotton bud holders and a bunch of things, which is so interesting. You've got someone making a bag from, a shoebox. You've got a girl making a bag from, Converse, and then you've got this really cool guy here who just made a chessboard from a bunch of random stuff. So yeah, that's upcycling in a nutshell, and that's what we do at RwrkStudio. So I will stop there and come back here.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Farouk. That was a really good a good starting point. And yeah, it's amazing to see how creative it is and how people kind of take these things that are about to be chucked away for good and turn them into new items. And yeah, I think it's really interesting that you kind of have always had this entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. How did you, I suppose, how did your time at working for people, you said it kind of made you realize you did want to be an entrepreneur, but yeah, how has it helped you, I guess, now with running this business and kind of, seeing all this success with it? Yeah, how do you think it helped you sort of having that work experience as well?
Yeah, 100%. So I think working does two things. Number one, you need money to fund your business idea.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're going to run out of the money you saved. So one thing with a job is it gives you a funnel, some type of capital, working capital every month that you could put towards investing in yourself. So working's really helped in that aspect. Number two, within a business, you have to manage people. And if you've never done it before, I promise you, it feels like raising a kid. Like you make a lot of mistakes. You make a lot of mistakes, and it's like you learn as you go along. So one thing that my job has helped is because I manage people as well at work is being able to take a lot of those learnings and structure and put it into my business, and even day to day creating documents and having processes within my business. I'm able to take a lot of those learnings from work and implement it. So there's definitely a lot of benefits to working. Yeah, and I hope that helps as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's nice to hear
Last one as well.
the
I think
Yeah,
So I
go
was
on.
going to say you can also meet like-minded people at work,
Mm,
people who can actually help further your business. I met an accountant at work, which was great.
mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do talk about, I just definitely don't want to work for someone, and I guess the negatives, but there's some really nice positives there that you spoke about that has helped you as an entrepreneur, not hindered you. Definitely.
Yeah.
I suppose you kind of mentioned that the idea for RwrkStudio came from a bit your time working at Burberry, and seeing all the waste firsthand. I guess, can you tell us about like the early days of having the idea, and what were the first steps you sort of took to start to make it happen?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess one thing to say is this is by no means the first version of the idea.
Okay.
One thing you're gonna find, guys, with your ideas is they're gonna take so many different shapes over time till you figure out what works. So in the early stages, we were repurposing just like vintage items. We repurposed Burberry, we repurposed Louis Vuitton. Uh,
Mm,
we repurpose anything that we could find that we thought was interesting. Um, and before we even did that, our initial idea was we wanted to go into these brands, take their dead stock, which we know existed, and repurpose that. But again, we found red tapes. Oh, you're not a big name, so we're not going to give you our stuff. Then we had to pivot into repurposing our own stuff that we could find. So yeah, it's taken so many different shapes, and
mm.
yeah.
So how did you come to the idea about towels? Was it was it just realizing they were kind of easy to find, and they were just a big problem?
Yeah, so in terms of landing on towels, it's going to go back to what you mentioned about working a 9 to 5.
Mm,
Guys, being an entrepreneur is not necessarily a skill; it's more of a mindset, right? So if you're going to do anything, you need to be able to say, "Hey, this is what I can bring to the table. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at operations. I'm good at sales." You need to work to learn those skills. So the skill I developed through work is operations. I'm an operations manager. Um, so what that means is I see processes quite clearly, and I always look to refine and make things simple. So when I came into upcycling, Catherine, what I realized was um, there wasn't a scalable process. Like
mm,
if I found a pair of Levi jeans and I upcycled it, and then I had 1,000 people who wanted to buy it, where do I find, if I haven't thought about the process of finding 1,000 Levi
mm,
jeans, then I've just lost money. So with the operational mindset I had, I was looking for a way to refine and find a process that's scalable, but also makes an impact in terms of actually saving stuff from the landfills. Um, which is kind of why which is one of the reasons why we ended up on towels, because we felt like this was something that was disposed of a lot. It was
mm,
something we could easily access, so scalability shouldn't be an issue. And it's very, very versatile in terms of what you can make. Like if you go in our comments, you see so many um, suggestions on what to make. I just can't make it all. So it's very versatile in terms of what you can make, in my opinion.
mhm,
It's durable and no one is using it. So it also gives us a gap in the market in terms of
mm,
catching people's eye. Oh, this is made from towel. So all of those reasons combined, scalability and impact being the biggest factor, is why
mhm,
we chose towels. And one thing I've also learned is less is more.
mm,
Uh, Now that we do towels, it makes our direction easy. It makes our partnerships easier as well. Hey, we repurpose
mm.
towels. So if you fit in that bracket, then you work with us. And if you don't even bother reaching out to us. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes it really, it's so simple and clear, and people can kind of, yeah, get behind it or not. I really like what you've said about, because a lot of the, yeah, things you see that are to do with upcycling, they are smaller, small creatives who are doing really cool stuff, but like you said,
Exactly.
it's not scalable, and it's all about them, and their output, and what they can do, which is amazing. But I really like that you've from the beginning sort of focused on how you could scale it up as well.
Exactly. And I think that comes from the operational mindset. It comes from working. and gain experience at work to say, hey, I need a process, I need something scalable.
Yeah, definitely. And if you'd done this a few years ago, you might not have quite thought that way. Yeah.
No.
That's great. I can see a hand up. I'm just going to do a few more of my prepared discussion points, but then we can definitely come to some questions. So yeah, just hold tight, and then we'll come to that. Do you have a team behind you? Is it just you? Are there people working with you? What does the team look like? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, of course, you can't do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is done alone. Although I wear many, many hats still, you can't do it alone. So um, just to take it back a bit, when you guys start going to boot camps, they talk a lot about founders fit. So founders fit is when you as a founder, you have, I guess, some of the core skills needed to actually run the business. So you're trying to build an app. If you're an engineer, you have some level of founders fit because you don't need a lot of resources to get things off the ground. Unfortunately, I didn't have founders fit for RwrkStudio because I'm not a machinist. I didn't study fashion, as you saw. So, Catherine, to your point, I've had to build a team around me to I guess, uh, lean on where I have no expertise. So in terms of the teams, I have three machinists that work with me in the studio. So they're the ones who do all the sewing, and where I kind of lend my assistance is direction in terms of products to make, designs, and things like that. But yeah, I very much have a team of five in total. So three machinists. I've got a guy who helps with all the tech stuff, websites, whatnot. And then I have a marketing assistant as well.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So you're the kind of the vision, the kind of products and pushing the business forward.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
everything
the
else.
I'm the I'm the content creator. I am
Yeah.
I'm the finance director. I'm the marketing director. I'm the
Yeah.
operational manager. Yeah, yeah. I'm HR.
Yeah. Have you been tempted to learn how to do the sewing as well? Get on the machines?
I really have. And what I fight at the moment is time. You know,
Yeah.
is it worth
Can't
me
do
putting
everything.
my time into it?
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
And the answer I've given myself is I need to understand what they're doing. So I have
Mhm.
over the 4 years or 3 years now, I have a very deep understanding of what they're doing. And I think that level of understanding is probably enough for me to keep going.
Mhm.
If I invested the time to start sewing, um, you know, there's
Yeah.
so many other things I need to do at the moment. So I
Mhm.
think, yeah, just being more of a expert in the area, I think is probably more important.
Yeah.
But I need
Okay.
to learn how to mend some stuff.
Yeah. Maybe one day when you get some time.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I've got so many questions I could ask, but I'll just try and pick out a few of the more interesting ones, hopefully. Um, Obviously, you're a for-profit company, but you do have
Yeah.
a social kind of mission behind your business. Um, how do you kind of measure your impact, I suppose? I mean, you've spoken about, how many kilograms of waste you've saved and things like that. Is that something you really look at as a company?
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of RwrkStudio is even the whole idea behind RwrkStudio was doing something that I felt was purposeful. Prior to RwrkStudio, I was doing event stuff and it was fun. It was very ego driven. Although there was a problem, it wasn't really a problem I connected with. So with this, it was something I really feel like I can get behind. So yes, in terms of how we measure impact, it's by the total tons of waste we repurpose every year.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And I suppose with the products that you're sort of making, what's the process like for coming up with new products and is it on customer feedback? Is it kind of just on your vision? How do you decide?
Yeah, so at the moment, because we are a sustainable brand, and because we are a slow fashion brand, one thing I've understood from the beginning is we can't jump on trends. Oh, so if this particular style of clothing is in right now, if we jumped on it, we would we would have to keep chasing the trend. So in terms of our design process, we try to make sure we're released slow and things we release almost are timeless pieces, things that structurally the design doesn't change. That way we can keep making those things, and you come to us for essentially your everyday wear. So that's kind of our outlook on design. Is it needs to be something not trendy, but rather here to stay.
Yeah, yeah, it would be
Yeah,
a bit of a contradiction, I guess, if you were kind of pumping out, really trend driven
exactly,
things.
exactly, exactly.
Great. And I think I read this in one of the interviews that I found that you've done online, around like who your customer is. Oh, sorry. You okay?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
No, no, don't worry. I was just saying, in one of the interviews I read with you online, you were talking about like who your customer is, kind of, and I suppose, yeah, can you tell us more about who your typical customer is, and is it who you expected, and things like that?
No, no, it's
No.
such a tricky thing. It's such a tricky thing, and I think we're still figuring out some level of who our customer is. Um, I think it's going to be an ongoing thing for a while,
Yeah.
but you gain an understanding and you build on it. So I remember we had a product, we had this DIY bag that we were selling, and I thought, well, like the young girlies are gonna love this DIY bag, um, and we started running ads on these DIY bags, and it was literally like 45 plus. 45 plus. They were buying the hell out of these DIY bags. And I was like, oh no, like my whole brand is
Yeah,
like
like I've got
I'm
it
gonna have to
wrong.
start making products for older women. Um because again in my head I had this idea of who I wanted to make stuff for. And I didn't necessarily go the data. So for the longest time I kept on like I was going against the grain. I was like, no, 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 no. We're gonna get younger influencers to market this so we can change So I kept on. I was like pushing the ball up the hill, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and one day I was just like, you know what? If they want it, they can have it. And
Well, that's a good,
when
yeah, a good lesson in kind of
so
listening to the
yeah, you've
market
got
and
to
not, yeah,
go with the data. Go with the
yeah,
data. The data showed us who the audience was for this product, and we chose not to listen. And when we decided to, get the right influencers that represent those people,
yeah.
it was easy. It just flowed,
Mm,
and things went really well. So that was, and yeah, so that was one situation. But overall, in terms of
mm,
our general products and who they're for, we tend to see our main age demo is almost at
mhm.
25 to 45
Okay.
age demo. We do get the younger crowd, like the 18 to 25 as well. But we
Mm,
do see that our core age demo is the 25 to 45 bracket.
yeah. I think that's still young. That's still classed as young.
No, 100%, 100%, 100%. But because that DIY bag, it was like the first ever products that we made. So what it
Mm,
meant was because that age demo was engaging with our audience, it changes our algorithm as well.
yeah.
So it's not as simple as, oh, they're buying, so it's fine. If if
Hmm.
if that's the age level that's engaging with your content, your posts and stuff, it's going to now push to that audience. So if the regular stuff I'm making isn't for, then there was almost like a misalignment
Mm,
of things. But yeah, yeah, we've got that
good.
figured out now.
So, I suppose to be able to, you've got a really great like social media following,
Yeah,
and obviously a direct to consumer brand. So,
yeah,
yeah, marketing must be so important for you. Can you tell us a bit more about that, about your marketing sort of strategy and how
yeah.
you're actually getting customers in?
Yep, 100%, 100%. So 2023, um, I'll keep it very simple. 2023, our marketing strategy was shock factor and valuetainment. So shock factor was the fact that again, you start with 0 followers, so you need a way to break through the algorithm. So the shock factor was that we were repurposing all these designer items that we wanted to really get people out. It wasn't enough that you upcycled, right? People wanted to be wowed by what you do. So rather than just upcycling like denim and things like that, we decided to upcycle, the LVs and the Burberrys, and that really got us viral over time, right? Because people were reposting, they were resharing it. So that was almost like our entry into the market. And then in 2024, we focused on valuetainment. So valuetainment is essentially where you show, it's almost like how I went from this to this. So how I went from having a towel to now like 10 scrunchies. And people really love that valuetainment where you just watch someone, you want to know what comes at the end.
Yeah.
You really want to know what that meant was we're showing a lot of our process of what we're making, how we're making it. And that's really what drove us through 2024. And 2025 was pretty much valuetainment being kind of our core sort of type of content. But now me as the founder coming in and also showing who I am, because I think people also wanted to know who was behind the brand at this point. People wanted to convert people. They really want to trust because you're a small brand. Like part of that trust is, oh, okay, I've seen, I can put a face to the brand. So 2025, I started to do a lot more of, posting myself on uh, our social media and, somewhat being a face. I think the brand is still its own thing, but they understand that, okay, there is RwrkStudio and this guy runs RwrkStudio rather than this guy is RwrkStudio. And in 2026, I guess we're still figuring out what the strategy is going to be. But it's going to be a combination of those two things and then figuring out what should the new adaptation, what should we add on for 2026 as well.
Yeah, nice. And would you say a lot of your kind of sales have come through social media, or are there other things you're doing as well?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All of our sales.
All of them, okay.
So all of our sales has come through social media. But the thing is, to run a business, you can't rely on organic content because you never know which one's going to work. Like one could get 1,000 views, and then the next one could get 100,000 views, and then another one could get 20,000 views. It's too inconsistent to rely on solely on that. So what we do is we run organic. We push out organic posts, but we also run meta ads as well. So the meta ads is kind of where we can actually forecast our sales. Where it's like, okay, cool. We're gonna put £1,000 this month, and we're expecting to gain X amount at the end of the month and things like that. So yeah, it's almost it's a yin and yang between those two, where you need the organic content, and then you should also run the ads to make sure you're always in front of the people who maybe would buy if they saw you more,
Yeah.
but maybe they're not seeing your content enough.
Okay, no, that's really interesting. I suppose this is always a popular area of discussion of kind of how you funded the business. I know you have received some grants, some different kind of grant funding.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to hear more about a bit more about that and just how you've been able to sort of get that external funding in.
Yeah. No, definitely. So yeah, the main the main funding has been my pocket, guys. I'll be honest. Yeah, as I said in the beginning, having a job gives you some working capital to fund your business, or as I say, to invest in yourself, because that's essentially what it is. And so yeah, outside of grants, most of the funding has come through just me investing in it. But grants definitely help. And the reason why I'm able to get those grants is because I'm solving a problem. Now, if I just had a regular fashion brand, there will be no grants because why would they give you a grant? So again, thinking through your idea and making sure you're solving a problem will allow you to have opportunities whilst you're running the business to be able to, I get a grant for it, for example. So yeah, it's been a mixture of those two things.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose, do you have any advice or tips around sort of getting grants? I mean, you've got to be doing something that's, it aligns with what those grants are about, doesn't it? So for you,
Yeah.
it was because you had the sustainable kind of circular economy element to it. And did you get Innovate UK funding as well?
I did,
Yeah.
I did, I did. Yeah. So it's as you
Amazing.
said, it's being able to align yourself with those grants. Now, guys, it doesn't mean go start a sustainable fashion brand.
No, no.
There's so many, there's so many grants out there for so many different types of reasons, and that shouldn't also be the reason why you start your business. I think it will align if you have the right idea, but if you do have a business, it's looking for grants that align with that idea. If it's an education platform or an education business, finding educational grants, for example, would work.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like a lot of, you're not really necessarily going to get a grant for just a standard fashion brand or, you know, standard sort of e-commerce type business, because that's not what they're usually set up to do, to help businesses like that. So it's just finding things out there that match up with what you're doing, but not doing it for the sake of it. That's good advice.
Exactly.
Yeah. I suppose a random question, but you know, can you think about some of the maybe mistakes you've made along the way, some of the things that haven't worked out so well, and maybe share those with us and kind of what you've learned from them? That would be great.
100%. Till this day, and that's knowing what I know now. I think the biggest mistake I made was probably spending 3 years on my third business, which was Alias Mobs. The reason why is because I was just inexperienced, and it was a big mistake because I didn't have a timeline on, hey, I'm going to try this for 6 months and release an MVP. And if it works, then I'll carry on. If I get some type of traction, I'll carry on. If I don't, I won't. I think that lack of timeline and understanding of that meant it was just kind of like dragging on, and it was going and going and going. A year became 2 years, and then it became 3 years. So one thing I always do now is test quick. So you want to fail as fast as possible. So either to pivot your idea to something else or just start something completely different. So that's the biggest mistake and the biggest lesson I've learned. So the way I apply that now is, although I'm in one business, we try so many things like often, and I would do it as quickly as possible. So if we have a new product that we want to release, for example, we're going to release a scrunchie maybe next week, a towel scrunchie for your wet hair. Come out the shower, pop the towel scrunchie on, and a normal fashion brand or normal small fashion brand would, they would design everything and then they would release it, and that could take like 6 weeks. We literally made a sample in a day. I posted it on our social media, and I'm like, do you guys like this? If you don't, why not? And within 2 days, we had a sample and I had feedback. Cool. We take the feedback, we work on it. I posted the next one. I think I posted like yesterday or something. And I'm like, this is the new version. Do you like it? Do you not? I took the feedback, we worked on it, and we're literally in production as we speak. And I'm going to take the product images tonight or after this call and get it ready for the website. So that's testing quick. Now the test is not done, right? We've tested the sample, we've got feedback. We've made another sample, we've got feedback. Now we want to test the products. I'm not going to go and get a professional photographer and then that takes 2 weeks. No, I'm going to take a picture at home, use AI to get it all clean, white background, whatnot. And now I need to see if it sells. Now, the quicker I can get onto my website and see if it sells or not, is the quicker I can know if this is a good product or not. So our ability to test things within that, like, I guess, 2 to 3 week timeline makes things easy for us. And it means we will fail a lot, but we will also find good products quicker as well. So biggest mistake and biggest lesson. Test quick, fail fast.
Don't hold on to things. Don't hold on to things for too long that aren't working. I guess you always have that, I'm just going to try this one more thing and see if that works. And when you've invested so much, it's really hard to walk away.
It is hard. I've been there. It's hard, but you just have to give yourself a hard deadline with things, or else it's going to drag. And then 3 years is 4 years, and then and could have tried some other stuff.
Yeah. So I could still go on. I've got so many things I'd like to ask you, but let's see if anyone on the call has got any other questions. So I think, is it Vikram? I think you you've had your hand up a few times, so feel free to unmute and ask a question.
Good afternoon. So let me know if in case you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so my question comes from first to understand whether you started Bootstrap, and second was more related to understand the philosophy of how you think about running a business. So is it more related to where you would think running a business with the Bootstrap money and scaling it up, or going for funding and then scaling it up and then try to figure out the business model? How it works for you?
Yeah, so great question. So I started Bootstrap, but I also know people who have done it the other way around. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Um, like I did a program called NEF, and I literally have a girl from that program who she got investment, and now she's running a very successful business, and it's in sustainable fashion as well. So I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I don't know why I've chosen this way, but it's worked for me. But yeah, Vikram, both ways work. There is no right or wrong. I think you look at your business, you look at potentially how much you think you need to get started. And if that amount seems more than you have, then you may want to get investment first. But I think I looked at the idea, I looked at how much I think I needed to start, and it didn't seem substantial enough for me to take time to find investment. And I think personally, I also didn't know whether or not people would believe in this idea. So I just decided to, hey, I'm going to do it. And then once I've done it, because don't get it wrong, I'm going to get investment at some point. But I think I just I took the option of trial, build, you know, it's profitable. And then at some point, if we want to scale, I'll get investment.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helped.
Nice, thank you. Brilliant. Does anyone else have any questions at all? You can raise your hand or put something in the chat. Or I can think of some more questions.
I've got one actually.
Go on, Carolyn.
Yeah, it's just following up from what you're saying there, Farouk. Actually, it's just sort of maybe the longer term vision for the company. You mentioned there about potentially at some stage getting some investment, but you know what that might look like.
Yeah, so our longer term vision is to own this mountain that we are on, and which is one of the reasons why we wanted to specialize. So our long term vision is we want to be at the mountaintop of upcycling towels. That's a long term vision, and on the road to that, we want to partner with hotels. We want to partner with businesses within the hospitality industry to repurpose stuff for their businesses. Imagine you go to a hotel and there's an upcycled tote bag on your bed waiting for you as a gift. So yeah, that's our long-term vision, is to own the mountain that we sit on at the moment.
And have you got partnerships with various hotel groups at the moment?
At the moment we do and we don't. So we have a partnership in a sense where we can get the towels, but we don't necessarily have a partnership where it's like a brand collaboration where we're upcycling towels for them. And that's kind of the next stage we want to get to.
Yeah, that'd be great. I could really see that, definitely.
Yeah. Me too.
What do you think you have to? What do you think sort of you have to do to be able to get there for it?
I don't think it's much. I just think it's the fact that at the moment my time is finite.
Right.
So I'm putting so much time and effort building up the D2C and running the D2C that I haven't necessarily had the time to say, all right, cool. All I need to do is build a deck, right? And send it out and start having conversations with the right people. But all of that, as simple as it is, takes time. And I think I'm just not in a position where I can pull out enough of my time to dedicate to that aspect of, let's call it the B2B side of the business. Yeah, I think it's just time, but I think the idea is there. The infrastructure is there. Yeah, it's just time.
Yeah.
That's kind of, yeah, one of my questions I didn't quite ask was obviously you're working at Depop as well. How do you manage all of this? What's your advice for people that are juggling work, business, maybe studying still? How do you do it?
I mean, it's not easy. But when you're doing what you love, I think you just do it. You have the energy and motivation for it. I literally do 9 to 5 and then 5 to 11. Weekends I'll come to the studio, or I'll do a bit of both where I'll bring my laptop to the studio so I can do my Depop stuff as well as just help manage the team, things like that. That's all it is. I think as long as you have an idea you're passionate about, then you get the motivation. But there is no there's no solution. There's no answer that could make it easier for you. And I guess something you could do is just manage your time well. So one thing I've been using a lot since 2023 is my calendar. Literally everything I do has an event on my calendar because I get to the point where I forget things. Like I'm like, where? So I just look at my calendar. So I'm almost putting processes in place where I don't have to think about certain things. And I just get a notification, right, cool, I'm meant to be here, or I've got this call. And things like that. So yeah, that's helped in terms of managing my time well. But apart from that, I think it's just having the motivation for the idea. It'll get you through the line.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs have, I guess, a point at which they know they will quit their job, I suppose. Do you have something as specific as that, or you'll kind of just see what happens?
Oh yeah. I've been there. So I actually I did quit my job last year, July. So I wasn't working for 6 months. I was solely living off RwrkStudio, which is great.
Yeah.
I had more time than I was like, what do I do with all this spare time? Because I needed more time, but I didn't need 8 hours a day to run the business, if that makes sense. So when I quit the job, I was all right, cool. By 12 o'clock, I'm kind of done. And I'm like, what the hell do I do with this spare time? And what I found was so now my living expenses, let's call it, I need at minimum pay my mortgage and stuff. I need 2.5 a month, right, to cover myself and live somewhat of a average life in London. What that meant was I was taking 2.5 out of the business every month, but our sales wasn't necessarily growing. It was like stagnant-ish. So it meant the amount I was taking out of the business was way more than the growth of the business. And I did see it. So by the time we hit like October, November, I was looking at focus. I was like, oh wow, we might go broke. We might go broke because essentially me being in the business was really depleting our capital. So at that point, I had to make a decision to go back to work. So what that kind of taught me is the business has to be in a much better place financially before I can transition. What that number is, I honestly don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but it's definitely not it's not a small amount. I'll tell you guys now. It's not a small amount because you also have to think that you're hiring people, so you have to pay them as well. So you being the last person to, it's just tough. It's not a small amount from what I've seen. Yeah, it's not a small amount.
Well, it's good you tried it and you realised you weren't.
I mean, it was fun.
The business wasn't ready for that yet.
It was fun, but the business wasn't ready. It wasn't ready. Yeah.
We've got a question from Ross.
Hi, Farouk. Thanks for your information. It's really quite inspiring in many ways. How have you managed, or how do you manage to get in front of or get in contact with the decision makers that you need to in other organizations that help you build your partnerships or make your sales or whatever it is?
That's a very, very good question. So one of the things that I think I pride myself in is being resourceful. If I need something, I'll find someone who can do it. And the answer is simple, really. In terms of getting in front of the decision maker, I just make the calls. I send the emails. If I don't hear back, I'll call the company. Hey, I'm looking for this person. Can I get through to them? Go to in-person stuff. And I think that's where the barrier stops for a lot of people, where it's like we're in a social age where they reach out online and that's it. I make the calls. Like even with the hotel partnerships, I didn't know where to start. I was YouTubing, I was Googling, I was sending emails, and I remembered, all right, cool. I know someone who owns a laundry business. I called him. I said, hey, I want to get through to this. Who do you know? He gave me a number. I called back. I didn't even text him, but I called him. I said, hey, I got your number of this guy. All in this, I got your number of this guy. He said, you know, X, Y, and Z. Do you like, is there anything you can do? He gave me another number. I called that person. The person owned a laundry business that provides hotels with the towels. And he's like, yeah, come down to Wembley. I live in East London. I went to, I went to see him in person in Wembley the next day. So it's just that it's simple. It's just being resourceful, and looking for different ways to reach those people. I don't think emailing is enough. And he's so busy, like he doesn't, I don't think he checks his emails, let alone his texts. If I didn't call him, I don't think he would have picked up or messaged me back. So yeah, it's a lot of that, and it's what's really got me this far. Being resourceful.
Thank you.
Persistent. Okay, we've got a question on the chat. So how are you planning to increase your sales? And what's your favorite marketing strategy? I think we've already spoken a bit about that with sort of social media, etc. But yeah, what's the plan this year to kind of level up your sales?
Yeah. So this year our current plan is we're going to double down on organic content, because we go viral every now and then, which is great. So our plan is to really double down on organic content, to bring people in, understand our process, understand the value of what we do, and then use the meta ads as almost a sales funnel, to get people to purchase. So essentially casting a wide net over the internet to bring in as many people as possible, and then retarget those people with our ads, to buy our shorts or our joggers or our scrunchies and things like that. At the moment, that is our H1 like strategy. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. Unless anyone's got a final question and they want to nip in quickly, I guess we'll just have a bit of a wrap up from you, which is, I suppose, what's been your, highlight of all of this so far? Is there one thing that like sticks in your mind as something you're really proud of?
I could give you 4.
Oh, okay.
Should I give you 4? So the first one's always like the messaging. So people reaching out to us and saying, hey, love what you're doing, you've inspired me and stuff like that. When I speak about motivation, that's like one thing that keeps me going, to know that there's someone on the other side of the screen that sees what I'm doing and appreciates it. So that's always an highlight. The second highlight will be just how much we've been able to repurpose. Again, just last year we did 3,000, which was amazing, the most we've done in any year. The third would be in 2024 when we did 10K in one day, which was crazy. That's the most we've ever made in a day from a drop. And then the third highlight would be we did a 40K transaction, wholesale transaction, which was the biggest wholesale transaction I've ever done, and the most money I've ever seen in my account at once from a sale. So yeah, those would be like the 4 core highlights of running RwrkStudio.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, you have to remember those things when things are a bit
100%.
harder. Oh, nice. So that's been, thank you so much, Farouk. That's been brilliant. And to catch up with you after 5-6 years and see what you've been up to is amazing. And I think you've inspired us all a little bit. And we'll be following you and wishing you all the best for growing the company.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. As I said, Carolyn, Catherine, wouldn't be here without you guys. B scene
I'm sure you would.
No, B scene was the start of it all. Because I think, even at uni, you feel like you understand things, but you just need information. Is probably one of the most important things you could have in business. It saves you so much time, right? And that was part of what that workshop, that incubator did, right? It gives you information, tells you how to tackle a problem and things like that. So yeah, just big shout out to you guys as well, and always happy to
Oh,
always
thank
happy to
you.
give back to you guys. So thank you for having me here.
Oh, brilliant.
Thanks,
Well,
Farouk.
yeah,
Really
thank
enjoyed
you
it.
again.
Thank you.
And yeah, just to everyone on the call, if you're if you enjoyed this, we've got more coming up. We do these roughly every fortnight, always online with different speakers and different sort of sectors and topics that we can talk about. So we'll send a follow-up email after this with some of the upcoming sessions that we've got. We've got in-person sessions on the Aston campus as well. But yeah, we'll do a follow-up and you'll get all the information, and you can always contact us if you'd like to talk about your business ideas or just how you can get involved. We're always happy to have a chat. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Farouk.